You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets on Media Network.
All right, you're on the Arms Room with Glenn
and John.
And damn it, Mason, you almost did it. You almost did it.
He
man.
got it last week.
He did. You got it last week. Oh, so close, my friend. So close. What's going on? Why you giving me that questionable look over there, board guy?
Are you good?
I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
All right. So I want to start off with some sad news.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Bad stuff. We had a Flagstaff police officer get shot and killed on Saturday. Guy had barely been a police officer for just around a year, and got into a domestic violence dispute situation and got shot point blank, and did not die on the scene. Died later in the hospital, and then the suspect, of course, doing what little turdy suspects do, ran away and shot himself in the head. Unfortunately, he didn't do that before. So, Officer Tyler Stewart, rest easy, brother.
Heck yeah, man.
We're just about to the end of 2014, and I'm really looking forward to 2015 and hoping that we have had too many Arizona peace officers die this year, including a very good friend of ours, and we're hoping 2015 is not the same, man.
Dude, it's been a long year.
It has been a long year for that kind of stuff. It has been. But on a brighter note, we hope everyone had a Merry Christmas.
I know I did.
I had an awesome Christmas, man.
You know what the highlight of my Christmas was?
Tell me.
Seeing the picture of Mason in his pajamas on Facebook.
Yes.
Outstanding.
We're going to put that on the Arms Room Facebook.
You need to share that.
That is a phenomenal
That onesie
picture.
was fleece. It was all fleece.
He's got pajama onesie fleece. It was pretty hot. And you've got like this boss stance over by the
Oh yeah.
by the Christmas
And
tree.
I specifically requested a fleece onesie for Christmas. All right. And
You would.
first thing I opened.
You would do that. Is that so that your mom can cradle you to sleep at night?
Exactly.
Oh, thanks, Mom. I really appreciate my new pajamas. Those are fantastic.
See, the downside is there's no butt flap in the back. So
Oh.
So you got to drop them
yeah,
all
you
the
gotta
way
take- yep,
down.
all the way to the ankles.
Man, I bet your mom hates that when she changes your diaper.
Yep.
All right.
How was your Christmas, Mr. Stilson?
It's phenomenal.
Yeah,
It's a good time.
it's good. I had a good Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. I had a great weekend too, man.
Yeah,
Saturday, I spent all day with a Barrett M82.
nice.
Yeah, banging long range steel and helping people learn how to shoot it over at Arizona Cowtown. They've got a new 50 cal shooting experience package. So Josh and I went out there and showed people how to make that happen, man. And we had everybody who came out. No one had any experience, obviously, with 50. Most people had no experience with long guns. Everybody that we dealt with on that day had some kind of shooting experience, but
Mhm.
nobody there, or I should say, most people there didn't really have a lot of experience with rifles or precision shooting or long range shooting or anything like that. And we had everybody hitting at 1,000 before they left. Good
Nice.
hits too. I mean, those torso targets that we use,
Mhm.
they're not huge. And so, yeah, man, we're looking forward to doing more of that as Cowtown continues to expand their program. So check that out at on Cowtown's website if you're interested in 50 cal shooting experience or other types of experiences that they're going to be doing out there. Check that out on their website. And hopefully Independence Training will be doing the most of the instruction out there for those experiences.
That'll be fun.
It's a good time, man. It's fun to just go out and people just show up and they look at the old Barrett and they're like, "Oh man, that thing's a beast," and they just see it and they're excited.
Yep.
So, it was good. It was really good. Anything else? Any newsworthy?
I don't watch the news, man.
Newsworthy things. Well, Facebook is my news.
Yeah.
Let me scroll.
I didn't-
Dinner,
I didn't-
breakfast. Nope, nothing useful on Facebook.
Yeah, no.
The end of combat operations in Afghanistan.
Yeah, we celebrated that. That was Black Friday.
Oh,
Black Friday was when they officially declared.
Yeah,
wasn't
there was
it?
a big announcement though the other day. The
Oh, okay.
president made his speech yesterday. So.
Oh yes, right. Oh yes, the president thanks all Afghanistan veterans.
We all did a good job, everybody.
Good
So,
job.
good work, team. Good work.
Mission complete. Fantastic.
We'll be back in 15 years.
It worked so well for us in Iraq.
Yeah.
You know, that because things over there are just going splendid.
Yeah. Peachy keen, man. No problems at all. Democracy is thriving.
Job well done. So, gotta talk about our friends over at AR500 Armor. Today, as always, we've got our AR500 plate carrier here in the studio with us that I've been, slowly beating the crap out of, and going to continue to use and abuse.
It still looks really clean, man.
Dude, we had it in the mud, man. It just all flaked off. I don't know what to tell you. I'll drag it behind my truck. Will that make you feel better? All right. So remember to check them out over at ar500armor.com. Our entire show today is going to be brought to you by our friends over at AR500 Armor. So make sure to check them out. John and I actually headed there after the show.
Yeah.
See what's going on. They got some new products to show us. So we're excited.
Very.
Also got my new Arms Room shirt on.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone complained about the black on white. We don't like white shirts. We get dirty. Well, then I like to wear my dirt, man. I like to show everyone I'm dirty. I did stuff, cool stuff. But people don't like white shirts.
No.
So we did some white on black. So those are available if all you complainers who didn't like the white shirts want some black shirts.
Oh, we don't like black shirts. They're too hot.
White on black. Yeah, now black shirts.
It's too hot in Phoenix in the summertime.
All right. Well, we now have white on black. Nobody cares. Work harder.
Yeah.
Arms Room shirts. All right. So if you want some, contact us. Jump on our Facebook page. The the order form is still up there for the white ones. I'll change it for the black ones, but they are available if anyone wants them. All right. In our studio today, we have a really awesome guest that we're really happy to have. We have Matt from Concerned Veterans for America.
Hi. Thanks, guys, for having me on.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for coming down.
Of course. So Concerned Veterans of America is focused on national policies and really, in short, just trying to keep the freedom and liberty that we have in this country. And so we do policy-based stuff all across the country. And what we try to do is keep it focused on the issues that are concerned with veterans, right? As our name says. And so we do a lot of grassroots work and a lot of listening to veterans. I mean, we made over 500,000 phone calls during this last year, just doing surveys and listening to how veterans thought that they wanted to change the VA reform. And so that's what we're really all about, guys.
Now, I want to tell everyone kind of how we came to even be in contact with you. So Matt, who's one of our instructors at Independence Training and a frequent guest or co-host on the show, who couldn't be here today because he's sick.
Oh,
sorry, Matt, if you're listening.
Poor Matt. We love you.
We're sorry. We're sick. John's going to bring you some chicken noodle soup later.
And hugs.
And so Matt was at a veterans rally of some kind. And I guess he said, there's like a bunch of old guys there, which is normally how it is. You go to these veterans rallies, a bunch of old guys. And
yeah, so
and Matt was a young guy, and you're a young guy. And so it just seemed to kind of, I think you guys just kind of connected because Matt got up, I guess, and did some talking.
Yeah. So what we were at a VA town hall, and I had organized about 20 veterans who were all having serious issues with the VA town hall. And I took them out to dinner and we kind of sat down and we talked about a better strategy than going up and going to the mic and just saying, hey, these are my problems. Because a lot of times veterans will tell their own story at these VA town halls, and it doesn't provide really a comprehensive way for the VA officials to respond to them. I mean, all they do really, and this even happened in that meeting, was a lot of the answers to the veterans' questions were responded with, well, hey, here's this business card, call this person and they'll help you. So that's what we do at these VA town halls is we kind of organize them. We're like, hey, your problems are these. Ask them questions that on a systemic level, they'll be able to answer with actually give how they're going to change the VA, right? Instead of, you say that you have back problems and like, okay, here's a business card, but right. Why weren't your back problems taken care of by the VA, right? So we kind of taught them how to do that. So we were at this VA town hall and we all had, I got them to wear the Concerned Veterans of America t-shirts, and we, so that we gave a good presence of who we were and what we were trying to do. And it was very interesting because me and Matt were the youngest guys there, and I think the only global war on terrorism vets that were there. And so we just connected initially, and, you know, it's great to see that. I mean, I was proud because he was like brave enough. He was there by himself, and he just stood up and he voiced his concerns. And I was like, wow, I really like this guy. So took him out to lunch a couple times after that just to get to know him. And now I'm here. And so I'm happy.
Good. Yeah. He introduced you to us, and it's been you know, a real pleasure to start to learn more about your organization. And for those who, you know, we'll probably say this a couple times, obviously, on the show, but so you can all find it, it's CV4A.org. So Concerned Veterans for America, CV4A.org, so that you can go on the website and find out more about this organization. And one of the things that kind of initially attracted me to, when, you know, Matt told me about you, was like, hey, this, you know, I want you to meet this guy. We want to start, maybe get him on the show, and we'll talk to him a little bit. I'm like, great, another veterans nonprofit organization, neat. And you know, and so the first thing is, of course, I go to your website, I look you up online. And first of all, you have a good extensive, you know, experience in the military, so you've got a good background, which is always important for this kind of stuff. You know, to really understand how the guy on the ground experienced things, not only overseas, but now then transitioning back into civilian life and having to deal with the VA and things like that. It's really important, since you have kind of personal experience with that. That's an actual experience that you have. You know, there's so many of these organizations that end up getting run by people who really just they can't connect to the people that they're trying to connect to, because they don't have the same they don't have the same experiences, the same background, you know. And so that was the first thing that I liked. The second thing that I liked about the organization is you're not begging for donations at every part of your website.
Well, that's true. We are lucky enough to have we were first started on a big group of donors. And so they believed in the mission that Concerned Veterans of America wanted to go forward. And so they committed enough money so that we don't have to keep going back and asking individuals. And that's especially, we don't think there are many veterans out there whose money is not, you know, valuable to them. But I mean, in a way that they don't need to be giving to us. What we want to be doing is giving back to them. And so we really don't ask for donations from individual veterans. What we really want is their time and their opinions. And, you know, because we're a growing organization and we are pretty new as far as veterans organizations go. And so what we really want is just to learn from the veteran community out there. And it wouldn't seem like it, but it is difficult to get young veterans involved.
Well, it's very difficult.
And so we do everything that we can to reach out. And every time I meet, you know, a veteran, a younger veteran, I try to bring them into the organization any way that I can. Because that's what we really need. If we're going to make good policy decisions in the future, we need to know what it was really like out there. We don't need the bureaucrats telling us, oh, you know, this is the way that changes need to be done. We need to understand how it really is and come up with real answers to our problems.
So primarily, I mean, what's your role with CVA?
So I am the Arizona local director. So I, you know, organize and plan and execute the operations that we do in Arizona, but I also assist in our nationwide events as well. So if there is an area where we want to do some sort of big mission, like we want to really hear from veterans in North Carolina, what we will do is we will survey, we have a database of veterans, and we will survey how many of them like we haven't been able to reach. And if we're not able to get them on the phone and hear them in that way, then we will plan what CVA calls a deployment. And we will nationwide, all of the employees will go out to, say, North Carolina or Louisiana, and we will go and we'll plan like a door knocking event. So we'll actually go out and we'll knock on all the doors, and we'll spend 15 to, actually, I mean, there's times that I've stayed like an hour over at a guy's house just drinking coffee with them and listening to them. And they target those veterans because either they have said that they had some sort of issue or that they're unhappy with some sort of either our national defense policy or the VA reform policies. And so we'll go and we'll sit down and we'll listen and we'll create a really comprehensive list of their problems and how they think that they should be fixed. And so that actually goes into kind of a system that we have so that we can measure how people or how veterans feel the nation's policies should go in which way. And so I'll help plan those as well, but really very focused on Arizona. And Arizona doesn't have, is still in its infant stages of what we're doing. And so what we're really trying to do at this point is build that stronger network of veterans, and more importantly, like small team leaders throughout the state that are motivated and passionate about basically like freedom and liberty, and trying to make sure that this country stays on the path that it's supposed to. And so if we can find those small team leaders throughout the country, or I mean throughout this state, that would be my end goal. But it's a work in progress and something that we're working on. And like I said, we are learning every day how to reconnect with that younger generation of veterans. And so as soon as I become an expert at that, I'll let you guys know how to do it.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
We try on a regular basis, and it is definitely tough, and it's something we do. We try through this show, we try through our training, we try through our individual lives to just try to get more connected to the younger crowd. And it's tough. It's tough. I'm not totally sure why that is.
I think it's because most of us are, I'm a younger veteran. I mean, I'm not, I'm in my mid 30s, but I've been part of this last several years of war and things in that nature. And a lot of us come back and we're kind of jaded, or we come back, we get out, we move on with our lives, and we get into our families and we get into our careers and stuff like that. So it's hard for us to find that time. And then we've heard our grandpa tell us all these war stories and horrible stories about how we're treated at the VA and how the healthcare is terrible. So we just kind of try to avoid that situation altogether. And I think that's the big thing, is we don't really realize how big of a voice we can have if we get involved with the right groups of people doing the right things to help change that kind of stuff.
Well, I think sometimes too, just as who we are today, we have this huge global reach with things like social media and all that. And everyone, even though everyone's involved in that, everybody also understands like how infinitesimal you are in that whole scale of things. And I think that sometimes, guys and gals, of course, veterans kind of look at it and say, how well is my voice really going to be heard if I get on social media and complain, or I go down to my local VA and complain, or I write my congressman and complain, and do I want to be that guy who's complaining, So I think that's why it's so important that people get involved with organizations like Concerned Veterans for America, because it's this huge lobbying organization. You guys actually have some capability to make a change. Yeah,
I would think that we played a major part in some of the elections, and people that stood by, and we held some politicians accountable this year. And I think that we also do a really good job of making sure that veterans are heard in Washington when we're writing legislation. And so our CEO plays a major part in that. And if you guys ever watch Fox News, he is on there almost every other day talking about where CVA is and where the future of this country needs to go as far as national defense policies and VA reform policies. And so we really try. I think that we are becoming well known around the country for the things that we are doing. And so when people want to join our organization, we're going to empower them to get out there in the communities and actually be a leader. We're going to give them the opportunities to voice their opinions. So
now, one of the interesting things that we talked about before you came on the show that I really wanted to address is kind of what I want to get involved in just before we go on our break. And that is, because to me, this is the most important one. Because like I said, when Matt first was like, oh, this guy was CVA and another nonprofit veterans organization, I'm like, let me guess, they want $100 from me or something, right? Is how there are so many stinking nonprofits out there, and not just veteran related. I mean, there's so many nonprofits and charities and people who want your money to do this, that, and something else. That there has to be some kind of process where you've got to be able to figure out which ones do I actually want to donate money to. And I remember I read it's like a graph or something that was floating around social media a couple months ago. I know you saw it because we talked about it a little bit, and about all these charities and nonprofits and like what their, how much money their CEOs are making directly from that organization.
Well, and it's not even that.
And how much of the money that's being donated is actually going to who it's supposed to be going to.
Right.
And that was always the problem with, like I'd done some work with Wounded Warrior Project in the past, taking wounded warriors out hunting. And so like that was I really enjoyed it. It was a great experience. And then of course in recent years we've discovered, wow, maybe some of that money we were donating wasn't really going to the places that we really wanted it to go, Right. And that's kind of been the case with some of the other organizations too. And so there's so many organizations out there who all want your money, and it's hard to figure out which ones.
Well, a lot of those organizations are focused on benefit to the individual veteran.
Mm-hmm.
So like if I had lost a limb in Afghanistan, the Wounded Warrior Project would be there for me. And I've got buddies that have had, help from Wounded Warrior and other organizations like that. And then there's the EOD Warrior Foundation, which does the same thing specifically for EOD guys. But then they have to beg for money. They have to ask for money. They have to get donations. They have to, they have to do all of this crap and all this administrative stuff. And it's well beyond my pay grade how it all works.
Sure.
But then you look at an organization like CV4A, which is for all of us, not necessarily about benefiting directly the individual veteran, but the veteran community as a whole.
An arm or something.
Yeah. So it's more about the whole community and getting the entire community involved and helping the entire community help itself. That's my take.
So there's a kind of a big spectrum legally and for tax purposes on how nonprofits are set up. What you're talking about where they kind of help the individual, those are 501c3 organizations. They're tax exempt. Their donations are tax deductible for people. And those are the organizations that really focus on the individual. You will have a wide range of nonprofit organizations that do policy-based stuff too, which is like your 501c4s and your PACs, your political action committees, which you guys have heard about before, and your 527s. Those are all tax code, right? Those focus on like national policy stuff. They are more strictly regulated by the FEC, so is C4s. But that's a good indicator right away to figure out what they are focused on just in broad terms, right? Whether they're going to be addressing like national policies or just policies in general. They don't have to be national. Or if they're going to be helping individuals. Now, what you talked about is how they're actually, Glenn, using their money.
Yeah.
And so there's generally 3 criteria that you can look at. One is you can see how much they're paying their executives, right? That's going to be a pretty good sign of how well they're using their money if they have 20 plus executives all making over $100,000 a year.
And that's all public record information.
Yeah, that's all public record information. But what most like CharityWatch.org or .com or any of those kind of charity watch or nonprofit watch groups or watchdogs look at is usually the percent spent on charitable purposes, right? And they'll usually give, whatever percentage it is that they actually give to that individual or to individuals like wounded veterans. And we can all kind of agree that they need at some point to do some more self-promotion to get donations. So Wounded Warrior is going to need to advertise, right?
Yeah. Right.
But usually the rule of thumb is that they should be spending 60% of their charitable donations on the issue that they're focusing on. So Wounded Warrior Project, say, should be using 60% of their money on, helping amputees and things of that nature. The other thing, and this goes towards their efficiency, is they'll do this analysis on how much does it cost them to raise $100. And so that's kind of the limit that they do. And so they'll measure this and figure out whether or not they're actually an efficient organization. Are they spending $99 on advertising to get a $100 donation, right? So really it's not an efficient way. And it also gives you a pretty good idea of how well respected the organization is in the community. But also just basically, are they doing a good job, like spending your money? And so those are the three kind of indicators that a lot of the kind of watchdog organizations will look at. And you'll be able to look at that, and they usually have some sort of letter rating. And so you'll see, some organizations will get a D because they pay 50 executives, over $100,000 a year, and they spend 20% of their charitable donations on veterans, and it costs them $75 to raise 100, and so they'll get an F, right, or a D. And there's other ones where a lot of the workers, and this is another thing too, is when there's a great cause that people want to do, you'll get a lot of volunteers for it, and so it allows you to use your money in a better way. So, I mean, that's what I would look at if I were trying to vet some sort of nonprofit that I was going to give donations to. Those are the things that I look at.
So first, look at how much do they pay their executives.
Yep.
Second, look at how much of their money is actually going to the cause.
Yep.
And third, look at their efficiency.
Yep.
So, in other words, how much does it take them to create whatever it is that they're creating?
Yeah.
And how many volunteers did they have, and how well known are they, and all that? Okay. Well, I think that's a pretty good checklist.
Cool.
All right, we got to go on break. When we come back from the break, we're going to keep talking about Concerned Veterans for America and how everyone can get more involved with them, kind of just how people can get more involved in general about veterans-related issues. I know so many of our listeners are either active duty or veterans, and so this is something that applies to everybody, and really how we all have to start getting more involved. We can't just sit back and hope that somebody else takes care of us. It's the same thing with gun rights. Last week we talked about gun rights and how we can't just sit back and wait for someone else to take care of us. So we've got to get more involved.
No more slacktivism.
No more slacktivism. All right, we got to take a break. You are listening to The Arms Room.
Would you like to own a thriving business and help employ local veterans? The Vetraplex Handyman Construction and Landscape business is the opportunity you've been waiting for. The Vetraplex is your gateway to an affordable startup business with a 0% financing for qualifying owners. By owning a Vetraplex franchise, you will be hiring veterans, providing them both income and opportunity, while at the same time providing your customers a way to say, thank you for your service to our nation's veterans. For more information, visit vetraplex.org. Again, that's vetraplex.org, or call 928-284-2022.
Breaker 19. How about that bandit? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in your life. I'm no different. Hey everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets on Media Network.
All right, you're back on the Arms Room. Today we have Matt from Concerned Veterans for America. And so far we've been talking about what CVA does for veterans, which is, as John, I think, really well summed it up, which was they're not just helping an individual veteran like a lot of other organizations are, you know, Special Operations Warrior Foundation or something like that. It's kind of looking to help a veteran or a family. CVA is there to help all of us from freaking World War II to the global war on terror. You know what I mean? Like to whatever we're doing next, right? To help all veterans, to help everybody. Right now, of course, the focus seems to be VA reform. But I sometimes I wish what we say on break would be broadcast, because I love when Matt, we were on break kind of talking about different things, and Matt says, like, you know, people just need to understand that America's badass, and we need to stay that way. You know what I mean?
Write that down.
Mark that down, Mason.
Mark that down.
So Mason has to mark down all of our curse words because we get broadcast on AFN, so they have to. Our station manager,
they have to bleep
James
us.
has to bleep us out.
Okay.
Which I laugh about.
Hey, look, I just believe in American exceptionalism. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we live in the greatest country in the history of the world. And, you know, I want my children and my grandchildren to feel the same way and know that they're living in the best country in the world. And I think that our foreign policy needs to reflect that. CVA is actually just started what we are calling our Strength and Security Project. And we're starting it off by doing kind of a case study series focusing on how a lack of clear national security strategy created a failed state in Libya. We're going to have more videos on this, but really, you know, the point of it all is that we cannot lead from behind. We need to be the leaders, and we need to promote solid foreign policy all around the world. So, yeah.
I just posted that video up on our Facebook page as well. So for our listeners who want to check it out, you can go to the Arms Room Facebook page, and I just posted a link up to that video. I haven't watched it yet because Matt just told me about it, but I'm looking forward to watching it after the show. But I did just post it up. So if you want to go see what the heck he's talking about, there it is. Now,
and don't forget, if you are listening live, you have questions for us or for Matt, you can post up your questions on the Facebook page, and we'll answer them if we have time on the show today. And if not, we'll get back to you with an answer.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that I want you to talk about too, Matt, is so last week on the show, we talked about gun rights, and we talked about, we had Charles Heller from the Arizona Citizens Defense League and Liberty Watch Radio talking to us about why it is so crucial for people to, let me start over. Here's the issue that we see, right? Do
you need help with words?
No, I'm trying not to engage a rant mode, but it's not going to work.
Stop being slacktivists.
Here it comes.
Stop being slacktivists.
Here it comes, people. All right,
go.
Okay, gun owners. Here's the problem I have. Quit freaking donating your $30 a month to NRA and your $20 or $30 a month to national gun rights associations or whatever. Right. And then getting onto Facebook and like, I hate this guy and this guy's screwing our gun rights, blah, blah, blah. And not actually doing anything about anything. Right. Like,
but I gave them money.
Thanks for the donation. Thanks for the complaining on social media. Thanks for going to local gun range and tell everyone about how screwed up everything is. As if we all didn't already know that. How are we actually going to get involved? Right. And I mean, at the end of the show last week, dude, I almost cried, man, when Charles Heller was done with his rant. You know what I mean?
That was pretty epic.
If you have not heard that, if you missed last week's show for some ridiculous reason, you need to go back and you need to listen. Even if you just listen to the last 10, 15 minutes, Charles Heller did
Yeah,
a fan
he went on, man.
He it was awesome, man.
Yeah.
I wanted to stand up and applaud, about because that was the question that we posed to him. How? And I said, Charles, if you could say one thing to people that aren't getting involved, what would you say?
A lot.
And then he said more than one thing. He said a whole bunch of things, and it was awesome. So that's kind of the same question that I have for you, Matt, is that we see a lot of veterans and young guys, and like John said earlier, we have families and jobs and all this, and it's just time and it's money and it's effort and it's energy. We just a lot of guys just don't have. And so how do we get veterans to stop just donating a few bucks to this nonprofit or that nonprofit, complaining on social media about how stuff sucks, maybe going down to a rally or two and thrusting their fist in the air a few times? What's next? How do people really honestly get involved in reforming America? Because this is the thing about CVA, and you specifically. This isn't just about veterans' rights. It's not just about that.
Mm-hmm.
This is about freedom in America. This is about us, that whole oath that we took. This is about us living up to that. This is more than just, an Oath Keepers organization or something like that, that we can all kind of thrust our hands in the air together and get pissed.
I'm a
about
member
stuff.
of an organization and I'm angry about this.
Exactly. Like, this is a real you guys have real opportunity and real power to really change policy for the better of our entire country, not just us, not just veterans, but our kids and our families and the future generations of America. I mean, that's really, it seems to me, more of what CVA is about. So how do we get our veterans who have a voice and who know what they want? How do we get them to get involved in CVA?
Well, there's a certain strategy that you have to take with this. Is first that veterans, one, need to know who your organization is. And we kind of talked about how people can do that. The other is that they need themselves to feel motivated or compelled to do something. So that's where a lot of our like CVA videos and what we put up on Facebook and on Twitter, on social media, was really to remind veterans of the obligation that I think that they still have to this country and to their children. And all it really takes after that is they need to, they can go, for example, onto our website, get involved, and they can either join or lead a strike team. So if there's not a strike team in their city, they could quickly become the leader of 2 or 3 volunteers. And then once you get more involved, and I know that you guys will understand this from experience, you don't know what you don't know, right? But
Yes.
Once you start getting involved and you know what you don't know, you start craving that information, right? And you start learning more and more. And at some point, you're like so deep into it that you understand at this point, for us, like the intricacies of some sort of national policy, right? And but once you get that bug, it's sort of like, it's difficult to get on the treadmill that first time, but once you start working out again, then you get that bug and you start. That's the same way that I feel, or at least for me, it was for Concerned Veterans of America, right? Is I just, I got into it and I started to get motivated, and I was like, this organization has the capacity to make real change, and I want to be a part of it. And so I think if we can just initially get the attention of veterans, once they start getting involved and they realize the impact that they could have on literally the world, then we grow. And perfect evidence of this is how big CVA has been growing in itself, right? We are now operating in many states and have multiple hired people, but also hundreds upon hundreds of volunteers throughout the country working on projects to make real changes, affect the elections in a good way, and make this a better country. So really what I would like is, this opportunity here on the Arms Room to try to compel some young veterans to get involved and know that they really can make a difference in the things that they do. And it's so small as just going and knocking on doors, because that one-on-one interaction, when people hear from a real veteran that, recently came back from war or just has gone to war in general or just has served, and they tell them, hey, this is really meaningful to me. Will you please take the time to research this bill that's going through Congress? Or will you please call your senator and let them know that, I don't agree with their stance on this? And when veterans actually stand up and do that, it will change the entire neighborhood in the city that they are in. We saw that kind of shift in the way people saw some of the elections and their elected officials through going and just us veterans talking to people and being like, hey, this policy is going to hurt us, or, this person staying in office is going to just lead to more failed policies. And so I hope that individuals know the impact that they have, and they understand that being a veteran is a big deal, and you serve your country then, and you should continue to use your voice to make a positive impact on the community that you have.
I went to cv4a.org.
It's the number 4, by the way, for the listeners.
cv4a.org. I clicked get involved. I clicked join a strike team, and boom, there it is.
Yeah, it's quick. And
So
you know
easy.
what? And that actually,
So easy. If you can complain on social media, you can do this.
in 24, and what'll end up happening is most of the people at CVA we were allowed to take a vacation up through the New Year's, but once they get back, what ends up happening is it goes into our kind of data manager, and then if your zip code's here in Arizona, then it gets sent straight to my email. And so I will have it, and every single person that signs up to be a strike team leader, I take the time to individually write them an email or call them and ask them how they want to be involved and what they're comfortable with doing and what motivated them to get going. So
now, what might be required of somebody? Because I see that's after the personal information, it asks, what can you do? Number 1, lead my own team. So what would a strike team leader do? Because that sounds freaking awesome, right?
Yeah, it does.
So what is a strike team leader going to do for CVA?
Okay, so a strike team leader is, one is going to build a team, right? So it's going to have 3 to 4 or however many, but it's usually about 3 to 4 members on a team. And they will lead that team on either door knocking or we'll do phone banking. Now, those are kind of the ones that people don't like to do. Sometimes people don't like knocking on doors. I mean, that you have to have that kind of like sales bug, right? Like knocking on doors is, I have done it, many times, and I'm kind of used to it. But that first time that I went to do it, and I'm like knocking on doors and people are slamming they don't even like listen to what I have to say. They're just angry I'm at their door, right? So that is tough. But what's really fun is we also try to go to tons of community outreach events and just show a presence. So a strike team leader can do anything if they were comfortable, like standing up and talking about Concerned Veterans of America at some sort of club or go down to the VFW. I had the opportunity to speak at the Veterans Day parade or Veterans Day ceremony in Tulsa. And so those events are fun because you get a bunch of people a bunch of veterans. So I did it with one of the VFW posts, and we just hung out afterwards, and it was great. But we also go to gun shows, and we'll set up a booth there, and we'll bring like some body armor and let kids like put it on, and put a Kevlar and a gas mask on, and
hooray!
Yeah, right. So
it's so much fun. There's still CS in this thing.
Yeah, but when you're like a 9-year-old kid and you're like, this is
this
so
is
cool.
the greatest thing ever.
Of course, yeah, they love it.
I hate just looking at it, but no, but so we'll do like outreach events like that, or we'll, what I'd like to find is in New Mexico, there's this all veteran band. And so they always have, after they'll go and do some sort of like making phone calls or knocking on doors to influence people, afterwards they'll have like a big barbecue and they'll just hang out and be able to treat veterans to like a pig roast and, have some beers and, watch this band play. And so any way that they try to give back to the veterans, CVA tries to do. So we try to make it fun too, right? So it's not, always knocking on doors and making phone calls. But when we're trying to influence policy, we found that that's the most effective way. And so especially door knocking and just talking to people and getting them out to vote if that's what they're doing. In the future, or at least in the next year, since it's a non-election year, we'll probably be doing a lot more of the outreach stuff. And my real goal and what I would really like strike team leaders to do is just create a bond with some of the veterans in their community, right? And so have regular meetings where we can talk about issues and we can listen to them. And, you know, a dream of mine would be, you know, once a month, to have about a dozen strike teams in Arizona and, you know, or in Phoenix, and once a month to get them all together and we can talk about the things that they've been doing and the way forward. And, you know, we could actually build kind of, you know, like in a military company, right? Where we actually we together as a group can can really influence the things that are going on in our state too. So could you imagine just like 100 veterans coming up to one of our legislators and, you know, standing outside their office and be like, hey, this vote is going to be wrong. Do you think that person is going to vote that way? They're going to go off to Congress? And I mean, that's a difficult thing to face, you know, 100 veterans standing in front.
It's
and
terrifying.
So
that's a lot more powerful than a whole bunch of even just random people, I think, standing out there. You know, you've got
100 people on the same page wanting the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I want to continue talking about this. We got to go on our last break. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about how people can get involved, not just as a strike team leader, but some of the other things that they can do with CVA and kind of just getting involved in general. So we're going to hit a break. You're listening to The Arms Room.
Everyone's going to need an attorney at some point in their life. I'm no different. Hey, everyone, it's James from Vets On. Whether it was my last will and testament before deployment or my ongoing custody battle for my children during my divorce, I needed help, so I lawyered up. If you need help, I urge you to contact Capstrom Law Firm. Capstrom Law Firm in Springfield, Missouri services clients throughout the state in criminal law, personal injury, and family law. With over 13 years practicing law, Tom Capstrom understands both law and court procedures and how stressful they can be. Let Tom Capstrom Law Firm and his dedicated staff take the stress and worry out of a difficult situation by calling him today. We feel so strong about the work that Tom and his staff are doing that he'll be a monthly guest on the show. Tom is a veteran and a listener, for God's sake, so you know the guy is solid and will fight for you. Give Tom a call today by calling 417-864-0552 or email Tom at capstromlaw.com. And don't forget to tell him that Vets On sent you.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertising.
Breaker 19. How about that bandit? You got some ears on, son?
Have you ever wanted to be a truck driver? If so, pay attention. If not, pay attention anyway. Southwest Truck Driver Training offers everything you need to get started. You can get hired before you begin training. They've got GI Bill approved training facilities, day, night, or weekend programs to fit your busy schedule. And if you have any questions, no sweat. They've got veteran supportive campuses with veterans on staff to serve you. And on top of that, they have lifetime job placement assistance. Put the pedal to the metal. Call Southwest Truck Driver Training today.
If you or someone you know is looking for a new job or career, you need to visit the pros. National Career Fairs at ncfairs.com. National Career Fairs hosts over 300 career fairs a year nationwide. The events are free and give you the perfect chance to meet some of the top employers in your area face-to-face. To find the nearest career fair to you, visit ncfairs.com. Again, that's ncfairs.com. What are you waiting for?
Would you like to own a thriving business and help employ local veterans? The Vetraplex Handyman Construction and Landscape business is the opportunity you've been waiting for. The Vetraplex is your gateway to an affordable startup business with 0% financing for qualifying owners. By owning a Vetraplex franchise, you will be hiring veterans, providing them both income and opportunity, while at the same time providing your customers a way to say, thank you for your service to our nation's veterans. For more information, visit vetraplex.org. Again, that's vetraplex.org or call 928-284-2022.
You're listening to The Arms Room on the Vets on Media Network.
Right, you're back on the Arms Room. Wow,
You kind of jumped the gun a little bit there,
I
buddy.
did jump. Well, because he was like this, and then I started talking. And he screwed me again.
It's always the producer's fault.
You know, I
Blue
think
Falcon over
there's
there
a trend
at
here
work.
that you just keep blaming me for things, but in reality, I think maybe
I
the
think
common
he caught
denominator
on.
is you guys.
Choke yourself. All right, so
Not on air. Not on air.
We've got-
We'll do that later.
We've got Matt from Concerned Veterans for America in our studio today, enlightening us a lot on nonprofit organizations, how to kind of vet them. I want to hit that checklist again, just for for refresher's sake. Checklist to kind of vet, so to speak, a nonprofit organization, whether they are for veterans, whether they are for
Anything.
puppies and kittens, whatever it is, right? Whatever the nonprofit organization you want to donate time, money, energy,
Rainbows and
effort to.
unicorns.
Number one, look at what their executives get paid, right? Look how many executives they have and what they're making. Number two, look at their efficiency, right? Look at how much of their money actually goes to whatever it is that they want it to go to. And then three was, remind me.
Oh, three. Man, what was three?
My mind totally went blank.
Oh, how much it takes them to make?
There you
Oh,
go.
cost to raise.
Cost
to raise analysis.
Cost to raise. Thanks.
See?
Good
Thank
job.
you, Mason.
Good job, Mason. You did something right.
I
He
listen.
saved us.
I listen.
Go back and look at my.
So, all right. So that's a good list to start with the nonprofits.
Yeah.
Obviously, Matt told us a lot about what CVA does, which you just got to go to the website and find out for yourself. CV4.org.
Mhm.
So we left before the break talking about strike team leaders and in your community, how you're just really looking for a handful of other people, other veterans to join with you and help you to kind of start activism in your community so that you can get people voting correctly, but also so that you can kind of start building these kind of teams around the state, like you were talking about, so that then when something big needs to happen, you can kind of call on these teams and maybe deploy 100 people, 50 people, whatever, to go and help with a rally or an outreach program or a local event or maybe even a legislative thing.
Yeah, so that is exactly what we're looking for, and we would really like to build an effective team. Well, we have some great volunteers here in the state already, but it is what I would like to do in the state is almost limitless. The more people that we can get involved, the greater impact that we can have on policy. But we listen too. So Concerned Veterans of America does a lot of listening to veterans. And so one of the other things that you can do to get involved is you can also go onto our website and you can tell us why you fight, right? So why you join the military. And sort of what we would like to hear too is, well, one, we just want to hear your story, but also there are a lot of times when you tell your story where you can understand how somebody feels about a certain policy. So if they're telling a story about their problems in the VA, for example, right, we could kind of figure out what they're doing. So you can get involved in just telling us your story, but you're going to have the most impact by actually getting involved, either coming to meet with me or one of the other people in your state, if you're not here in Arizona, and volunteering your time. And so I think that's the best way for you to actually make some sort of impact in your community is you just have to step up and do it. I don't know if that's the best way to say it, but really you got to man up and man up and start making a difference. And people really do. I know that I've said this before. People will really listen to veterans and they really want to hear their opinions on issues. And I know, and I felt exactly the same way that you're probably like, well, nobody cares about my opinion, right? I'm just like, I'm just a veteran, right? But you don't understand that what you did for your country is very important, and people really respect you. And so when you learn about an issue, when you go and you research and you go and read a bill, like you said your wife
Right,
did,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right. When you actually go and you invest the time and you learn and you're like, wow, I really agree or I disagree with this. And then you, as a veteran, from your perspective, believe in, support, or oppose whatever, a policy or a piece of legislation, and you tell people about it and you articulate the reasons why you don't believe in it, you actually could change the way your community may vote, or the way just the general environment of your community believes about some sort of national or local policy. And so all I really want to do is stress how influential that you can be if you truly get involved. And I've seen it firsthand, and I know that the impact that it can have. And so I just ask for you to step up and try to make a difference in your community, because you really can if you wanted to.
Now, other options that I'm looking at here on your website, when I go to get involved, join a strike team. So obviously we talked about the first one, be a team leader, right? But there's all kinds of other options. You can just make phone calls. You can man booths and tables at events. You can conduct outreach to other organizations. You can host small gatherings, or you can click other. If there's something else, if maybe none of those things fit what you can do, select other. And whoever your state coordinator is, whether you're in Arizona and it's Matt, or you're in one of the other states, and whoever that person may be, they're going to find a way to get you involved.
Oh yeah, I mean, I will reach out to each person individually, but we have some really great systems at CVA. So if you want to make phone calls, we have a system. You just we give you a phone number in it's called I360, but you use this phone number and you call in, and it will automatically, you'll be calling into your computer basically, or into an online system, and then it dials. And the only time that you ever answer the phone is when either an answering machine or somebody picks up. So it's either an answering machine or it's a person. And so you skip you're not doing any dialing yourself. And it only connects you when somebody picks up the phone, or if an answering machine picks up the phone. And then you just ask them like survey questions that we have. And when you call them, it doesn't display your phone number. It displays my local number here in Arizona. So if they can't call you back, but they can always call our system back. Right? So that actually seems to be a serious concern for a lot of people.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
it goes into our system. And so that's really easy. When you man booths and tables, I find that is my favorite thing to do when we go out, especially when we go to like gun shows and I get to wander around, or I get to hang out with kids, and it's just fun. And then doing outreach to other organizations and hosting small gatherings at your house. Like that's kind of the thing that I was talking about before. We could have like some sort of event, either, we could do phone calls all at your house, and I have iPads that we can use, and I have my own phones that anyone could use if we have some of those small gatherings to make phone calls and influence policy. And then afterwards, I always try to make it fun. I always make it into like a barbecue, or, we were thinking about going to, one of the things that we're actually doing this week is we're bringing veterans out to the Fiesta Bowl too. So actually I put Matt in charge of that. And so if he, if he still has any of the tickets left, I know that he was organizing people. So, veterans are welcome to come out and meet me then. We'll be tailgating, and then, we're all going to go watch the game as well. So CVA likes to do stuff like that too, like bring 20 veterans to the Fiesta Bowl and pay for everything. And so we do try to do lots of stuff like that as well.
Now, quick question before we go. Last question that I have for you. There's a lot of people listening to our show. They're not vets. Can they get involved with CVA?
Oh, absolutely. I didn't mean to just target this towards veterans, but we were kind of like, that's where we got into.
Yeah.
We kind of went down.
But that's why I wanted to address it.
But you know what? There are a lot of volunteers that just love the country and believe in what we're doing. One of our most successful directors is in New Mexico. He is not a veteran, and he does a tremendous job. And so there are lots of guys out there that do a really good job and just believe in what we're doing. And so they are more than welcome. I'm sorry if I just targeted towards veterans. It's everyone can get involved in Concerned Veterans for America.
So veteran or not, if you love our country, which if you're listening to the show,
I hope you love our country.
You better love your country. All right. Go check them out. cv4a.org. Get involved. Literally, click on the button that says "Get Involved." Right?
Get off your duff
and then get involved.
and go do some work.
Whether you tell your story, whether you share a video with them, or whether you actually join a strike team. And you can join a strike team, again, veteran or not. If you just want to get involved and you want to be able to help, get involved here. This is the way. If you're looking for that next step, this is that next step. If you want to get involved, and as Matt said, it's not going to take a ton of your time. It's not going to take a ton of your effort or energy or money. It's just going to take a little bit of sacrifice for you to be able to get involved with this and really take it to the next step. And as Matt also mentioned, Dobson contacted me last week, and I know I've talked to all you guys about it as well here already in this room, but there's a Fiesta Bowl event. And as far as I know, Dobson still does have a few tickets left. So if you are a veteran in the Arizona area and you want to go to the Fiesta Bowl
and hang out with a bunch of cool dudes,
be sure to hit us up on our Arms Room Facebook page. Post on the We're Live post that we just put up this morning, and say that you want to get involved in that event so that we can make sure we reach back out to you. All right. I'm excited because one of our prior instructors at Independence Training, Jason Sweet, who now plays for U of A, is going to be there.
Oh, that's awesome.
So it's going to be fun. Man. Going to be fun to go watch him play. But anyways, Matt, thank you so much for coming in, man.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
I feel super motivated right now.
I am. I'm super motivated. Like, let's go do something right now. So please get involved. Awesome organization. All right, next week's 2015, man.
Oh my God,
it's crazy.
Sheesh.
We should just do it. We should just do a year in review show.
Another year, and I'm still alive.
Miracles happen every day, bro.
All right. So next week's show is going to be fun because it is going to be our year in review.
Is it?
Next week's show's title is New Year's resolutions, treadmills, and their historical relationship. All right. So
that's fantastic.
So we're gonna
I am excited.
It's gonna be awesome. We're gonna talk about New Year's resolutions. We're gonna kind of give our year in review, our 2014 year in review, and we're gonna get fired up, man, because we already have an awesome calendar for next year.
Heck yeah, man.
So for all of you out there, enjoy your New Year's Eve. Please be safe. Do not drink and drive. Have a designated driver, get a cab, but enjoy yourself. Have a great time. Kick it off. Say goodbye to the old year. Say hello to the new year. Until then, stay aware, stay safe, train hard. You've been listening to The Arms Room.
So